The following is a production of cprundown.com. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts of this podcast are those of the individual and not of any affiliated companies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast covering the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, the amusement industry, and everything to do with fun. Here are your hosts, Carson Anderson, Evan Schultz, and Kyle Hu.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast where we cover the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, Cedar Point, and everything to do with fun. Boom.
And we're back.
Kyle, your job's done tonight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot of housekeeping stuff and everything.
Very Cedar Point centric show tonight.
Yeah. Finally, we've got some news, a new website that just got launched today by the park and also Six Flags and stuff and everything. But you know what, Kyle? Everybody's dying to know, and I'm sure if they're listening on a such and such platform, they're curious. Did we fix the issue that we talked about? I think, what was it, last episode?
Yeah, we did fix the issue, and you know what, you, sir, were making me like gaslighting me into thinking I was losing my mind. I spent like an hour poking through it, and you're like, well, what do you mean you didn't fix it? You can't tell what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You're the one that caused the issue in the first place by not exporting our shows as MP3s.
Yeah, a big behind the curtain. So I guess I was saving the episodes when Kyle was gone to M4As, and I guess M4As.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. I think that's like either a newer version of like saving like quote unquote like an MP3, but it's like an M4A, or it's also something with like maybe like a video portion of it or something. Well, anyway, Spotify didn't like that, so it wasn't automatically. So we would upload for our host, and the host would literally just host it just everywhere, and it was going everywhere except for Spotify, it's because Spotify doesn't support that. So I kind of troubleshooted it and looked at it, and I was like, oh, we're missing episode, I think it was like 103, because it was like episode 102, and then it went to episode 104.
Just so have me all the ones that Kyle wasn't involved with.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, God, yeah. I'm like, okay. So then I like, I literally called Kyle in a frantic, and I'm like, Kyle, I think I figured it out, and it was definitely my fault. And Kyle's like, well, yeah. And I was like, yeah. In Kyle fashion, I'm like, I think I just need to save the file format just to MP3 and not whatever, whatever that was saved as, and then so on and so forth. And yeah, so it's fixed. So welcome. And what's really cool is I saw like all the Spotify numbers. Hi, Spotify listeners. We have a lot of Spotify listeners. So thank you for listening on Spotify. I really apologize that it wasn't uploaded, but feel free to listen to past episodes if you haven't already. And Kyle, thank you for the moral support and also pegging me down a few notches, because it was my fault. And
served you a slice of humble pie, my friend.
Yeah. I appreciate it though, Kyle. You were, you were like, I don't know what else to do. We enabled the email. It's not working. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, moving on. So obviously we're going to be releasing this on a normal Saturday that we normally release, but
it'll be on Spotify.
It will be. Yeah, it will be. Last weekend, unfortunately, Evan, on Sunday, we had to say goodbye to Cedar Point because Cedar Point closed for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh darn it. Now we don't even know when opening date is per se. If you look at the new website, which we'll talk about a little bit here, in a little bit, we'll maybe dive into that just a smidge. But shout out to everyone that came for the group photo. That was insane. Literally going on in my mind, I was like, all right, yeah, I see some people standing, maybe looking at Siren's Curse drop or something. I'm like, okay. And I was talking to somebody, I looked over and I'm like, oh, there's a little bit more people. So I'm like, okay, maybe, I don't know if these, if everyone's here for this. I'm not sure. A few minutes go by, same thing again. And then I like turn and look and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people over here. I'm like, they're either just like hoarding to just watch the drops on Siren's Curse because people are over here and just looking and stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I think it's time, and so I'm like, well, maybe I should announce. Well, I think you were like, you should probably announce and see, who's.
It's like we should probably start getting people in position because there's a lot of people here.
Yeah. So I was just like, yeah. Everybody here for the group photo, and literally, I don't think I've ever heard the loudest roar ever. They're like, yeah, and I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right, everybody just, go against the fence. And if you want to see the photo, or if you were in the photo, thank you. Go check on our Facebook page. And so everybody, just got in the line. And then as soon as like I said that, everyone, got in the line. I'm like, holy crap, all those people were literally there for the group photo. So thank you again. Really, really appreciate it. It was really awesome to see how much the site has grown over the years. And I was talking to Evan a little bit, a little nugget of information next year for the ride takeovers or the whatever you want, whatever we're going to call it. We'll probably do it almost probably at the end of each night. It'll probably be around Friday, unless it's maybe something else, maybe specifically. But I'm going to try my hardest, and I want to make these things an actual reality. But I'm going to try really, really hard. And you guys are the first to hear this. We're probably going to do it probably every 2 weeks or so. Maybe like a ride takeover, maybe a coaster or a flat ride or something. Maybe at the end of the night, take a picture and just have a good time and make more camaraderie and celebrate with all of you great fans out there. Because again, I was just mind blown, and it's really cool. And hopefully Evan will be able to make some, because I think we're shooting probably for like a Friday night, stuff like that. Because I don't normally work on Saturdays. Evan, I know doesn't normally work on Saturdays, so it kind of works out for us and everything. So. But Evan, what was your when you saw all those people for the group photo? Like, what was your thought?
I was very, and I think you said this too, not now, just in general on closing day, but yeah, it was overwhelming, in a good way.
Yeah,
I really, it was like, I don't know, I got so just like, I don't even know, like out of my element, just like saying hi to this person, saying hi to this person, saying hi to this person, saying hi to that person. So yeah, I don't know. It was super cool, and it makes me appreciate like what we do.
yeah,
It's cool that many people actually listen to this, and maybe not necessarily listen to the podcast, but pay attention to what we post, or some mixture of the two. And it's like, oh wow, like this is all worthwhile.
yeah.
And I know even just looking like when you posted, it's going to be at this location at this time, so many of the comments were, oh man, I'm not going to be there, that sucks, or so that there's so many more people that might have been there. And
Yeah.
It's like
was the
looking
most
ahead to
ever.
the future. Oh, easily. I feel like every
Most
time I
ever.
take a photo, it's the most ever.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
mean, I love it.
growing and
Keep
growing.
getting bigger and bigger. You keep making them bigger and bigger. Yeah. Let me not be able to fit you all in a photo, and let me have that issue. That would be
It makes me think like, maybe going forward, we actually have enough people to pull off like an ERT event or something like that, like way in the future. Because
yes,
that'd be super cool. That'd be a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, just shout out to everybody, and shout out to everybody that, comes up to us and says hi and talks. And it's always fun catching up with everybody, even if just for a minute or two.
That was cool to take a bunch of selfies with, everybody that was coming up and everything. And
I promise you, we're not celebrities. Like, you don't need to come and take selfies with us.
no, I'm like,
But
I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no. I mean, I'm happy to
cool.
take a selfie and stuff and everything, but I'm
it's
just like,
cool. I don't know why you want a
like,
photo of me on your phone, but
I'm like, I'm not that special. I'm like, but yeah, I really, really appreciate it.
super cool.
Again, awesome, good stuff. So
yeah. And just overall, like, just super great closing day, closing weekend. Shout out to Cedar Point for that really cheap deal at Breakers that I think both you and I took advantage of.
Yes.
Got tons of rides Friday night. Otherwise, if I hadn't booked that Breakers day, I wouldn't have even come up Friday night. So it turned into a really good weekend. It's as good of a closing weekend as anybody could ask for. Shout out to the park for all the rides that were scheduled to be running were running. You know, there was no, even on Thursday with the just absolute garbage weather. I was so shocked looking at the queue times online that almost everything opened, even though there was gale force winds off the lake, and you know, it was a rainy, crappy day, and still a lot of stuff opened, and it just makes me see the appreciation the park has for us. Like, hey, it's closing weekend. Let's really make sure it's a good experience for everybody. I mean, we ate at Backbeat Barbecue at what, 6 o'clock, 2 hours before the park closed for the year, and like the full menu was available, which I really appreciate, because it's usually, you know, sometimes it can be kind of hard to find any food that's even remotely edible at that time of night on closing day.
Yes.
Or even closing weekend. So it was just, didn't feel like closing weekend because the park was humming on all cylinders, and the park was packed,
busy. Yeah.
at least on Saturday and Sunday. Friday was a different story, but that's because it's Halloween. And Friday was one of the best days I've had in that park in a long time. that was so much fun. But yeah, I was very happy to be like, and I mean this in the best way possible, I was tired of Cedar Point, leaving Cedar Point. I'm like, I am ready for this park to close, because I got so much out of this weekend. I'm ready for it to close. I'm ready to go home and enjoy the off season.
Yeah.
Not that I like enjoy not riding roller coasters, but you know, like it was the best way to just get it all out.
Right. Yeah. It helped that the weather was really good, and
the weather was perfect.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen, at least in probably within, I don't know, the past few years or so, I don't think I remember seeing like a closing day that busy before.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
And there's a lot of people, I think, generally that didn't realize that the park was even open last weekend.
Right.
Like,
and that was just an add-on day. They just added that on during like, I think it was like in the beginning of maybe September or late August or something. I go, oh, they just announced Halloween dates, and they're open until the 2nd. Oh.
Yeah, because originally the park calendar only went through Saturday.
The 1st.
Mm-hmm. And then they
November 1st.
On a whim.
So we're still waiting on.
Really appreciated.
We're still waiting on the new calendar, obviously, for next year to see when, quote unquote, opening day is going to be for Cedar Point.
I think I have a guess based off of their new website. Which is that what we're talking about next? Anyways, is the website?
In just a sec, I just want to say, shout out to all the amazing ride ops throughout the whole entire year. The Cedar Point maintenance staff, Tony Clark, you know, just everybody in general.
I think
that works at the park.
I think the first year we did this show, we did like an award show at the end of the year, which we don't do that anymore. It was kind of tough to figure out anything legitimate there. But I do want to say, like, Crew of the Year, Top Thrill 2, you guys were just unreal up until closing day, or all the way through closing day. I mean, I've never seen a ride at a regional park, you know, or not at a park not named Universal or Disney, pump trains out like Top Thrill 2's crew did from opening day to closing day. Our guy Orlando on closing weekend, he was so fun. He was just a blast to talk to and stuff, and it was very impressive. And that's coming from a park that's, you know, known for pretty darn good operations for
they were definitely above
they were unreal
for sure. And then also, you know, the addition of Siren's Curse and things like that, like,
which went so well.
Oh my goodness, it was crazy. But I mean, what was running really, really well this year was Top Thrill 2. We've got to give credit to Zamperla. We've got to give credit to Cedar Point maintenance, Cedar Point themselves. You know, they said that the park, that it was going to open on opening day way back in May. It opened on opening day. Yeah, there might have been a few hiccups here and there and stuff, but it's a new ride. You have to think that it didn't have a full year. But once we finally hit, like, I don't know, say late June, July, it was humming along, like Evan would say. And there was, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of crazy downtime, you know, the weird gremlins and things like that happen with new rides and stuff. And I'm happy to say that Cedar Point actually a few days ago released a photo and with I don't know what the kid's name was, but there was a kid that was holding one of those signs that says 1 million riders, Top Thrill 2. They broke over 1 million riders. From whatever happened last year is last year. It's over. It's done with. They had an issue with the trains. They obviously fixed the issue with the trains because it ran all season. And really, for maybe a few days, but, you know, all season. It ran all season. So,
and I will say too that not only did it run all season, but, you know, it had its maybe some hiccups early in here. Kyle knows about that.
Yeah.
But as the season progressed, the last time that it did not open at all was August 4th.
Okay.
So
Fair.
basically all of August and all of Halloween weekends, it opened every single day for at least a little bit. And that's weather. Yeah. That's including weather issues. So, even on Thursday, they got it open for a couple hours in the rain and all that crap. Dragster wouldn't have had a chance in hell to even, like, they wouldn't have even staffed it from the beginning of the night. So,
there would have, we were talking on Friday when it was cold and windy and a little rainy and stuff, whatever. We're like, dude, there's no way Dragster's would have ever opened in this. And you see Top Thrill 2 just running like
Friday morning. It's cold as can be. It's windy. I got there right at opening, and sure shit, bleep. Top Thrill 2 is the first ride open right on the dot, right at 10 a.m. I'm like, wow, that is impressive.
No, because
also, I'm looking at the calendar too. There was not any point in time where Top Thrill was closed for more than 3 days, even early on in the season when it was having its hiccups. Its worst weekend was Coaster Mania weekend, which is fun. Which is really funny. Sorry, Kyle.
I was gonna say the thing is we were talking about like just to throw back what Top Thrill Dragster was like when it was cold in the fall. They had to warm it up, so they would literally load like 2 rows. And then they would build it up, and then once it would finally launch with 2 rows of people in there, then they would open it with 3 rows and then 4 rows, and it was just a whole process. And then if rollback happened and stuff and everything, then everything had to go back to 0 and had to back the trains up, and it was just a whole mess. It was so much organized, so much cleaner, so much easier. So if it does roll, like Top Thrill 2 does roll back, it's a quick reset, boom, 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 and then it just goes off about it. They test it a few times, opens right back up. Like it's just,
and I'll tell you what, it's hard for that thing to roll back if just naturally, because
it was flying over the top. My gosh, yeah, it was flying over the top. So if anyone's not ridden Top Thrill 2, make sure you ride it next year because it's
here. It's here to stay. It's working great. And just shout out to everybody involved with that ride for making sure it was a good year.
Yeah.
Because it was. Yeah. It was as good as anybody could have hoped.
Yeah, it's crazy good. Anyway, speaking of some new stuff that's on, we literally, I guess, like overnight, Six Flags decided to roll out brand new websites for all the parks. And I really feel like, I think we talked about this a little bit, Evan, on the pod, where we were saying, when you go to Cedar Fair or like a Cedar Point website or Kings Island or any Legacy Cedar Fair park, that was a Cedar Fair park. Mm-hmm. Well, and then if you went to,
you go to Six Flags, and you knew this was a Six Flags park.
Right. And it was a lot, at least in my eyes, there was a lot of in-your-face like advertisement. At least I feel like there was a lot of in your face advertisement where it was like, oh, sponsored by M&M, sponsored by, I don't know. There was just stuff all around the page. It was kind of messy. Well, they now finally have a brand new Six Flags website. Now, if you want to visit Cedar Point, their website, you can go to sixflags.com/Cedar Point, or they kept, obviously, I believe the subdomain, I think is what it's called. So you could still go to cedarpoint.com.
Yeah, if you type in cedarpoint.com, it'll still direct you. But all of their websites are now, sixflags.com/Kings Island, sixflags.com/Worlds of Fun, sixflags.com/Over Georgia /Carowinds, whatever. So,
yes.
And everything's streamlined and everything. It looks like you took the Six Flags websites, the Cedar Fair websites, threw them at ChatGPT and said, spit out a website that's a good mixture of both. And that's what they did, because it's very clean and very Six Flagsy, but also Cedar Fairy.
Yes.
And I don't know. I really like it.
I feel like the Six Flags, the Legacy Six Flags,
super easy to navigate. I'm just like playing around with it as we talk.
I thought that they were more of a corporate-y feel, to where the Cedar Fair ones felt maybe more not as corporate-y, but now, and they also had like really pretty pictures. Like,
yeah, I noticed that too. When you
like
want to change what park you're looking at.
Yeah. Well, like for instance, like the Six Flags websites before this new update, like the Legacy ones, those ones would have like maybe stock photos of like, okay, There's Six Flags, like they would post. It wouldn't be like updated photos. Like they would be kind of like older kind of thing.
And maybe not park specific.
Right. And yes, exactly. Yes, that is 100% correct. But now you go through, just for instance, I'm just on Cedar Point's page. They've got brand new photos of like Top Thrill 2, like right on there and stuff.
Beautiful photos.
And then they've also got amazing photos. They've got like hotel campgrounds, and it's all like interactive. So like you can there's like a little hand that you can like move the boxes like left to right. Real nice there. There's a nice, if you click on like for instance, I went to Siren's Curse's page. It says Siren's Curse, answer the call. And then if you scroll down, it's an adaptive website. What does that mean? That means that when I scroll down, the picture actually blows up automatically without me doing anything. So all of a sudden, the picture of the Siren's Curse goes from a little tiny, like not tiny, I'd say 75% of the screen's full of the Siren's Curse picture that they have. When you scroll down on your computer, the picture goes all the way up full screen, and it fills up your web browser, which is pretty cool. And then it talks about, like all of the dimensions and things like that, special features. It talks about how the ride time is and stuff or whatever. And then at the very bottom, I believe Cedar Point's had this, but it's just a little more seamless. They've got boom, right there. And you can click right on a YouTube video and watch a POV on ride in 4K. And then again, it's got all these photos, beautiful photos. What I can't stand is going to a page and it's like, it looks good. And then it's
you don't
like,
even know what ride it's talking about. Hardly.
Well, that, or it's just got one photo and you're like, that's it. That's it. So you could definitely tell that, at least this is on Cedar Point's page.
I'm gonna go look at like Frontier City. Nobody cares about that.
Watch, they've got like one photo of each. Also, it's a lot more seamless and it's integrated now. Now you feel like Cedar Point is part of the Six Flags family. Same thing is with Magic
Whether
Mountain.
you like that or not.
Right. And same thing with like Six Flags Magic Mountain. It's pretty much the same exact look and feel of the same website. It's not like different. It's not like it's literally, it's really easy to change your property and change your
even Frontier City's got a few pictures of each of their coasters, and they seem pretty.
And what's cool is like when for instance, like I remember when the Legacy Cedar Fair parks added up on the top, it said pick your park, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of clunky looking. Well, now if you in the very, 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 very top, you can click, you see Cedar Point. If you click the little down arrow, it actually opens up a page where it says select your property. You can search by name. You can search by awesome, cool. The pictures that if you scroll down, you can search by distance, which is pretty cool. Like, so if, for instance, everybody that's got the all park passport and you want to take advantage of that, check out by distance, see how far the next park is closer to you. You might not even know. There might be one, maybe a few hundred miles away from you that you never known. It could be even water park. And you're like, holy crap. But yeah, so I think that's really cool. Or you can just do like by locations, by like actually states and stuff, and they'll actually list those. I actually like the scrolling down and just seeing all the cool. Like it even has the hotel properties. Like I'm just taking a peek and it shows like Sawmill Creek, and you scroll down and you
the whole website for Castaway Bay. Like what?
Yeah. So very, very pretty. I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm super excited about this. It still has all of the stuff and everything on there. It's just more integrated and more of the systems coming together now. It seems like they had like a system for Six Flags' website and a Six Flags for all of the Cedar Fair's websites. Now it's just one system and it's just there,
If you had any doubts, if you had any hopes that they would ever back out of this, I think those hopes are shattered.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then the only thing that is sad, and I'm sure that hopefully they're not all lost and gone and whatever, is the On Point blog that Tony would post a bunch of blogs and stuff and everything. If you click on that, you don't see any results. It just says no results found. So hopefully that's just something that they just need to plug in and you'll be able to see and stuff.
I used to still be able to see blogs from like 2009.
Yeah. And it was, it was pretty cool. And then also just really quick, I just clicked on like early entry. Pretty, it had all bunch of text, right? You're like, oh, text, right? Well, you keep scrolling down a little bit. It literally shows you pictures of whatever the early rides are. So you got a picture of Cadillac cars,
And for the general
Mounts,
public,
Gatekeeper, and it literally lists how fast it is too. It says 63 miles per hour before you even click on anything.
That's kind of
Iron Dragon's 40 miles per hour, and you can move over. Millennium Force, Top Thrill 2, and then like again, if you are suckered in by photos, this is
I think it's helpful for the general public because genuinely the general public is dumb. And
fair.
Instead of knowing what Gatekeeper is, they will see, oh, it's the big turquoise coaster. That'll help them,
Right. And it's all pretty. It's really, really pretty. Like I just clicked on like the dining plan or the dining information, and literally it's like dine all day or all season. It's got a pretty nice green graph or whatever. And for instance, like I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. I want to check out the Grand Pavilion. If you click on that, it'll bring up like all the cool photos of the Grand Pavilion. You could see like where it's at. And it also says like related restaurants like below and stuff. Like really, really seamless. It looks really good. I like the adaptive look where everything kind of zooms in and then zooms out if you like scroll up or down and things like that. Yeah, I think everything is pretty streamlined.
I hope a fuller, better app experience is coming because they came out with a new app recently and it still doesn't really work. So I hope that's next.
Yeah, hopefully they do. They do it. I'm took a peek over here at the past perks. There's not a whole lot, but go take a peek.
Well, remember the park did close, so there's definitely going to be a lot of missing information and coming soon information and stuff like that.
Yeah, go to. They still got the webcams. Obviously, you go check out Cedar Point's webcams.
I'm looking at them very sadly.
Just
not tear down the park, but tear down the
slowly
park.
Put the rides to sleep. Put the rides to sleep. But
what I like though, it makes me sick.
Is the actual the webcam pictures, the squares, at least on my browser, they're a lot bigger than the previous ones. They used to be little smaller squares, but yeah. So check out Cedar Point's website. Go check out all the other different parks and things like that, because like I said, you don't know what parks are close to you. Just for instance, I'll just search by distance, and it's asking for my location. And I will say allow for this site. So now it is searching, and let's see.
I think Cedar Point might be the closest to you. It might.
I mean, I would hope so.
Actually, for me, it's probably Darien Lake is probably the second one.
I need to go in my system settings. I need to turn it to on. Oopsies. Let's see here. This is a me. Let's see. Let's try this again.
Darien Lake is the second closest park to me. Darien Lake and Canada's Wonderland are closer to me than Kings Island.
Really?
Oh my God. I didn't realize it lived that far east.
Wow.
That's funny.
I didn't.
But Canada's Wonderland, it's such a pain to get to because you got to drive through Toronto and drive through the border. Darien Lake is a piece of cake. I don't know why I haven't done that yet.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm still trying to figure out my system settings.
California's great.
There we go. Okay, so I got Sawmill. So just to give you an idea, if you search by distance, it's going to give you hotels per se, and then also that. So it's closest to you is Sawmill Creek, obviously, and then Castaway Bay, Cedar Point, Kings Island, Canada's Wonderland, and then Darien
Why is
Lake.
Wonderland closer to you than Darien Lake is to you?
I don't know.
You got to drive by my house to get to Darien Lake.
Maybe I can go the opposite way up through Detroit instead of drive drive into Pennsylvania and pick you up.
Hey,
just kidding. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I think it would be an extra feature if they would say how many miles it is. It doesn't say how many miles it is on mine, at least. It's not saying, be like, oh, it's 143 miles away to Darien Lake. It's like, ooh, okay.
144 to Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So anyway, speaking of I guess a past or no future, I should say, we've got the Six Flags conference earnings call coming up on November 7th. I believe that would be the 7th, which I
That's,
think is Friday this week. So
yeah,
by the
Friday.
time this episode releases, it's going to be already released. We do actually, at least Evan and I, unless it's just myself, we're going to have another episode next week, and we'll talk a little bit more about how the earnings call went, how Q3 went. I feel, in my opinion, I feel the parks have been a lot busier. I feel like the spending has been really good. I feel like then people are like, oh yeah, it's because they oversold the season passes because they were so cheap. Well, I mean, Evan, the
weather's been perfect.
they just got almost $400 out of both of us for staying at Hotel Breakers. I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. So it'll be really, really, really interesting to see what is. But we're gonna break down all of that information and stuff and everything on the next episode and talk a lot more about that. Hopefully I feel like they're gonna have a good one, but yeah, we'll have to
if
find
they
and see.
don't have a good one, which I can't imagine, but if they don't, what's the excuse this time? Because the weather was perfect.
Yeah.
All the beginning of the season hiccups were worked out. We had the pass sales, you have the haunt events, but I think it'll be fine because I mean, one of the parks that they singled out in Q2 was Six Flags Great Adventure because, weather, Kingda Ka, Green Lantern, various issues there. I was looking at their park, and even though now Nitro's been down for a while because of a mechanical issue, I think it blew a lift motor or something. So they're down, two of their headlining rides if you consider Kingda Ka. And even still, during Haunt, you go on there and it's 2-hour waits, hour and a half waits, which I guess that's not really like a good thing. Like you don't want to go to a park and wait in 2-hour lines, but it shows you how busy they are, right?
Yeah.
And how popular they are and how many people are going there and spending money. So
yeah,
it's a good thing from a business standpoint. I don't know if people are having great experiences necessarily, but
you could see people buying, the Conjuring tickets and things like that.
Oh
the line for that has been insane. And then you could also see a lot of people buying and going through all of like the haunted houses and buying the actual attraction pass for the night for $10 or so.
The pay for haunted houses thing didn't scare people away, at least not from Cedar Point.
No, Cedar Point, yeah. The queues were definitely full
though
on busy nights.
It's worth mentioning that, when they first announced that the actual haunted attractions pass was $10 on Thursdays and Sundays, $20 on Fridays, $30 on Saturdays. And that, Conjuring was, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was $15 on Thursdays and Sundays, $25 on Fridays, and $35 on Saturdays. They saw that their haunted houses weren't doing as well. So they dropped all those to $10 every day. And then they took the Conjuring, which was very popular. It was selling out every night. It was having huge lines. And they bumped its price up, I think, to $35 or $40 every night. It was $35 most of the season. Then when I bought it on Saturday of closing weekend, it was $40. So they kind of had they had to see, watch the foot traffic, see what was happening. And by the end of the season, even, old haunted houses that we consider kind of meh or crappy or whatever, they had 2-hour waits. They had full queues. So people were spending that $10. And I know it's annoying, but that $10 when maybe not million, but maybe 500,000 people over the course of the season spend it. That's a lot of money that didn't require any more overhead cost. So I think even though it was annoying, I think at the end of the day, well, one, the haunted attraction pass is going to be here to stay. Sorry. And I think it's going to end up being a good thing for the park.
Yeah, I would assume.
And I think they will mention that in the Q3. That's my wrap up for that. Is I think the in-park spending will be very high because of that.
Yeah, and also I would assume
and fast lanes.
You're going to have next year for sure you might have more flexibility of changing the prices like they wanted to this year if they come out with a few different haunted houses or something like that. So it'll be something to see for sure.
Or bring in more IPs because, good Lord, people were bending over backwards for Conjuring.
Yeah, they sure were. They sure were.
When I walked back there at 3:30 on Saturday and the line to buy tickets a half hour before said line opened was back to Mine Ride's entrance.
Yeah. There's crazy demand for it for sure.
Yeah.
They were very, yeah.
Shout out to Conjuring too, though. I mean, whatever group, because I know that's not all Cedar Point that puts that on. It's a third party.
Yeah.
But whatever group they hired and worked with, oh my God, just wow. It's such a great experience. I mean, I went through it 4 times. I paid for it 4 times. I should have bought the all season haunt pass, and I'm still kicking myself for not. But you live and you learn.
Yeah, for sure. But Evan, so obviously we were looking at all the cool new websites and things like that. And
yeah, there was one missing.
Who didn't get a new website and it's completely off the websites or whatever is Six Flags America.
I'm curious. Wait, hold on. Before sixflags.com/America. Let's circumvent. They do have one.
No, they have a new one.
I mean, it's literally just a homepage, and it says, "Thank you for 50 years of fun. For over 50 years, Six Flags America served as DC's favorite amusement park, providing the ultimate destination for coaster fanatics and family fun. Explore our other parks," and it lists some of the other parks that are nearby: Dorney, Great Adventure, and King's Dominion. But yeah, no, they did actually make a webpage for it, which is funny.
Wow.
Sixflags.com/America.
Wow. I mean,
which is really like just a kick in the nether regions.
Yeah.
To everybody that was a fan of that park, man.
I mean, they do. It's pretty much almost just like a, hey, thanks for coming to check out Six Flags America. It's literally one page. There's that's the only thing that's there. It's like explore other parks where it's like King's Dominion, Great Adventure, Dorney, I mean, good on them for, I guess, putting it there. That's kind of cool. You could see a picture of the park and whatever, but there's no pages to like go check out anything. There's no drop down menus. There's nothing.
So anyways,
but anyway, yeah.
If you didn't know, as we're recording here on Tuesday night, and while we were at Cedar Point having our fun, knowing that, in 6 months we'd be back riding Millennium again, riding all our favorites again, there was also a huge crowd at Six Flags America that knew that would be the last time they would be in that park ever. In more, or what's the right way of saying it? In all likelihood, not riding any of those rides ever again, riding them for the last time, because I don't think any of them are really going to get moved, or if they do, very few of them will. Especially the favorites, Wild One, Superman, just not feasible to move rides of those types at this point, or financially viable.
Or maybe, you never know. I mean, still prices are pretty expensive, so maybe.
I'd love for them too, but I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up. So a lot of people were riding these rides knowing that this would be their last time riding them, whether it's in Maryland or Michigan or Texas or Ohio or whatever. We went through this in 2007 with Jogga Lake. We know it sucks. Granted, I was 7 years old 8. I just turned 8 years old when Jogga Lake closed, but it sucks, and I feel for them. As fate would have it, I have family members that live in the Baltimore area, and Six Flags America is their home park. And my cousin Sarah was there on closing day, and she texted me a very long, detailed trip report that I thought would be not like fun to share because the circumstances suck, but very interesting and a good, I don't know, send off to paint the picture of what closing day was and such. So
I'm curious. Yeah, you told me about this. I'm like, ooh, cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it's sad.
I was trying to keep up on Twitter on what was going on, and I just saw it was busy, and I saw the moron running up Batwings Hill, and
jeez,
don't do that.
Do not, please.
Don't do that. No. Which, funny enough, my cousin did touch on that because she saw it in person.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll get there. But so I'll just jump into it. And there's a little nice bit about our podcast here at the beginning too.
Nice.
Hey, Evan, I love your podcast so much, and it's gotten me back into riding roller coasters. I'm glad we could do that for you.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason I wanted to give you a trip report on the last day at Six Flags America yesterday. We wanted to get there at rope drop, but life got in the way, and we were used to no crowds at this park, so we weren't really worried about getting there at 1:45 in the afternoon, leaving us about 4 hours to ride. This was my third time there this year alone, but let me tell you, I have never seen the park so crowded. We had to park in the overflow parking lot, and honestly not sure where anyone entering after us would have parked because there were only a couple dozen parking spaces left.
Wow.
Absolutely insane. So needless to say, with operations being what they are there, though they were all right yesterday, she texted me Monday. So yeah, referring to yesterday being closing day, and single train operations on all roller coasters besides Roar and Firebird, lines were not moving. I'm talking some lines 2 to 3 hours long. So we caved and bought the fast pass, $120. Me and my friend that I go to the parks with always end up buying the fast lanes anyways. I've learned to budget for that on trips. Very good tip. I just wasn't really prepared for it yesterday, though I should have known. So that shows you too, right? Like a big crowd came out. Six Flags America has never had crowds to my knowledge. So much so that even when it was a Six Flags park, the groups hadn't merged. I was very worried about that park.
You would have also thought that like throughout the year, because obviously people knew that it was closing, they were still not getting a whole lot of crowds this year.
Not even the second last weekend.
Right. Yeah.
So anyways, there were probably people there for the better part of the day that only got on two rides, given that the park was only open from 11 to 6. Anyways, we went to Firebird first before we bought the fast lane because it was the shortest line and because it was the only credit at the park my friend didn't have. Good to get a credit right before they closed. Then the Joker's Jinx, which was a walk-on with the fast lane, and Superman. Now, nice. Superman, with the pass, we waited probably an hour and 15 minutes for. When we were getting off Superman, as you may have seen, some idiot guy was running up the lift hill stairs on Batwing. My friend was like, there's a guy running up Batwing. And I thought he was kidding because he likes to joke. But no, there was actually a guy running up the lift hill of Batwing. Security was called almost immediately. And I have a video of him running down the stairs and being confronted. Bold and all things. Like, not safe at all. And I mean, he had to know he would have gotten caught. Truthfully, don't think he cared.
Well, he'd be in jail now, but yeah, for probably trespassing, I'm assuming.
I feel like it had to have been some doozy, right?
Maybe, or it was like, that's my favorite coaster ever. I got to do it.
Which, by the way, that coaster has been closed since like July.
Yeah.
But good Lord. So funny. Next, we went over to Wild One, the one I wanted to ride the most. Waited a bit for it, mostly because of a medical emergency where a woman passed out on the exit ramp.
Ooh.
Such a Six Flags day. She thankfully was fine. Got a great ride on that. I love the airtime on those old Philadelphia Toboggan Company coasters. Then we went to Skywinder, which I have always called by its original name, Minder Racer. That is the Vekoma SLC that got new trains like literally 2 years ago, which is part of the reason I actually had hope for this park, but guess not. That went down after maybe 15 or 20 minutes of waiting. We were close to getting on, decided not to wait, given it was a couple minutes after 5 p.m. at this point and less than an hour with the park still open. We instead chose to go to Roar, then Firebird again, both night rides by this time. And by then it was 5:52 p.m. and I suggested we run over to Wild One to get one last ride. So we literally ran over to Wild One. And as we were running, a wonderful lady stopped me and said, "Are you going to Wild One?" I told her yes. And she handed me some up the exit passes, which was great because her fast passes end at 6. And maybe we could have got last train of the night in the regular line, but neither of us were actually interested in that. But we went up the exit, got on one more time and got off at 6:02. Tried to get back in line because we had 2 up the exit passes left, but they told us we couldn't. So that was all she wrote.
Aww.
We tried to take a walk after just to see the park in its glory one more time, but they closed off the area by Superman, so we couldn't walk past Joker's Jinx. As we were leaving, we watched the last public train for Firebird. Side note, as you may have seen on social media, Superman had a very unceremonious ending to its life. I don't know if it was right at 6 or what, but as there were still people in line, train dispatched and got stopped on the lift hill, and it never restarted. They had to evac everybody. They kicked everybody out of line. Some people said that the lift hill motor blew, which is hilarious. Not gonna lie, but sorry to everybody that was in line. That's a brutal but very Six Flags America ending to Six Flags America. We didn't get rides on Skywinder or Raging Cajun, but those are my 2 least favorites, so it's okay. On the way out, you could hear lots of cheers, and at the front, there were some drummers performing, lots of people, especially little kids, dancing. The park was so full of life at that moment that that you wouldn't have no idea it was its last. There was a sign at the exit that said, "That's all, folks," like at the end of the Looney Tunes shows. Oof.
Wow.
They're also handing out souvenir maps at the park that had a park map from 1999 on the one side and either 2024 or 2025 on the other.
Oh, that's cool. I'm sure those are going for crazy money on eBay.
Yeah, no kidding. I should look. It's been my home park since it was Adventure World. And while it's no Cedar Point, I definitely had a lot of memories there. I went to summer camp for a couple of years called Going Places, where it was like a field trip every day. And I was at that park weekly for a while. I definitely cried a couple times yesterday. I don't know if it's weird to give grief in an amusement park. It's not. It's not.
No.
I'll have to drive the 2 hours to Kings Dominion or 2+ hours from Hershey from now on.
To Hershey?
Yeah.
Worth the drive. Worth the drive. Yeah.
I do believe she's been there.
Okay.
I also think it's wild how much history is dying with that park. As I'm sure you know, Airbird was B&M's first coaster. Batwing was the last Vekoma Flying Dutchman. The saddest one comes from Wild One, the oldest operating coaster in the U.S. And then I think the Raging Cajun is one of the last of the last 3 reversion spinning coasters. Not to mention that someone was trying to keep the park alive. New trains on Superman and Skywinder, and they had just retracked Roar, which I actually enjoyed, though I generally hate GCI coasters. So yeah, that is all she wrote. I don't know, like as she touched on at the end, growing up, she was at the park every week. And again, it's not Cedar Point. It was never Cedar Point, but it's just, I don't know.
It holds a memory.
It just sucks. And even before this, I don't think this is a product of the merger, even though a lot of people are saying that. I mean, I think the merger might have been the nail in the coffin, but this park was always on the chopping block.
Either that or Six Flags. If the merger didn't happen, I feel like Six Flags probably would have filed for bankruptcy, and a lot more parks probably would have closed.
Or that, but I think America was always teetering, even though they had shown some sign of life in the last few years. It's just, I hope a lot of their rides get to live on, and it's cool to get a good perspective of what things were like there on its final day. So thank you to my cousin Sarah. Thank you so much for sending that in. I think that's a good way to wrap up a bittersweet episode as we talk about closing weekend and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's crazy to just to think that park, even like I said, when they announced it's closing this year, I figured they'd be a lot busier or whatever, and they just were not. And nope. I don't know if it's just because like there's other better parks maybe around that. I mean, I only went there once, but I was just like, meh, and then just went, on about my business. It wasn't, so
I was there once in, what was it, 2018, and it was in April, a Sunday in April. It was like barely 50 degrees, but everything opened and I got on all the coasters, and that was it.
And shout out to the ride ops and the security and everybody that just decided to stay. Maintenance that decided just to, you know what, we're going down with the ship. We're closing this baby out, because I mean, honestly, the ride ops, they could have just quit. They could have just been like, I don't care. I'm done. I'm out. This place is closing anyway. I'm out, so
what blows my mind, I think, is, maintenance, knowing that these rides were probably mostly going to get scrapped, or, maybe some of the parts from all these rides would get taken.
Yeah.
But, on closing day, the only coaster that was closed was Batwing, which had been closed for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, everything was open. All the major coasters, every coaster was open. Superman had its issue to end the night, but that's okay.
Right.
That is not easy to take care of those machines anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to do it with a skeleton crew, a skeleton budget, and get it all the way through the end of the season safely, is tip of the cap to all those guys. And I men and women there that worked on those rides, and I hope that Six Flags offers them jobs at Kings Dominion, Dorney, Great Adventure, whatever. Because I'm sure that all the parks can use some help in the maintenance department. Obviously, these people at Six Flags America know what they're doing. So.
Yeah. I wonder if I'm curious if it'll be sold off and just developed into condos, or if because I remember there was talk about how the city
wants to keep it an amusement center of some sort.
That'll be interesting to see what they do or what rides they're able to keep. Or
I'm curious, and the problem is that park is kind of tucked away. There's not like, oh, you could see it from the highway, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much of a look at deconstruction we'll get, but it would be curious just to watch. I'm sure somebody will find a way to see what's going on, whether they should or not. But it'll be curious to see, like, oh yeah, they're just ripping down Superman without any, you know, like they did Rip Ride Rocket at Universal without any thought or care. Or oh, look at, they're being really careful with that ride. That's going to go somewhere. Or man, all this stuff is still standing. What's going on? You know?
Right. Yeah.
So it'll be very curious. I'll be very curious to see how things go in the next few months. I mean, somebody will, like I said, somebody will find a way to get updates. I mean,
I'm sure someone will probably be flying a drone over sometime.
Yeah. I'm not going to say
we don't.
I'm not going to say I condone that, but you know, I'm not going to like not look at stuff that I see on Twitter. So,
I know, right?
So yeah. So that's kind of the sad way of ending the show, but
yeah.
Kyle,
do you have
the proper way of sending off Six Flags America from our end? I think.
Kyle, you have anything else to add, or you wanna close it down, buddy?
I don't really have anything else to add.
Yeah, that was a sad.
That was not a Kyle-centric episode. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it. He's putting this podcast together and working on the side, and we barely caught him.
HHN and your final rankings next week.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about that as long as we can get Kyle on the pod or whatever. But all right, Kyle, well, let's close this out and have a good day.
All right, like we said, we will be back next week. I'll probably be here, honestly. I don't have much going on. But, yeah, that's all I got.
Like we said earlier, just echoing it again, thanks again for the group photo and all that good stuff and following along with us and dealing with us this season. And talk to you next week.
And make sure you share this podcast with all of your friends and make sure you rate us. And hi, Spotify listeners.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rundown on Fun. Don't forget to follow us on social media for all the latest updates from Six Flags Entertainment. And remember, always be kind to your ride operators. See you soon.